Hello and welcome back to this Unreal Engine tutorial, Action Objects and Object-Driven Behavior in Unreal Engine 4. I'm Thomas M, and now we're going to be taking a look at combos. So now what we want to do is we want to start talking about combos, and the first thing I want to do is jump over to our animation montage, and I want to set it up with an additional attack animation. What we want to do is we want to add that second attack. This would be attack 2. And over in your montage sections window over here, this will automatically say attack 1 leads to attack 2. So it will play, if you just play it when we add our next attack, which is going to be attack 2. It'll just play the first attack, and then it'll play the second attack, right? And it plays the entire first attack, and then it just automatically plays the next one. So we don't want to do that. We want to click this and remove link. So this says they are independent montage sections, okay? So attack 2 is actually going to be from right about here, where that hand is down there. Where that hand is pretty close to where it is here at the end of our montage. It's then going to snap to here. It's about as close as we get between the two animations. It's not going to be perfect, but that's fine. I actually want to adjust this. So all I did there was I clicked on the attack down here, and I was scrubbing through the start time to try to find that spot in the animation to make sure that it actually starts at the correct time. Alright, so we never actually needed to play the first part of that animation, so let's go ahead and leave it in there. And somewhere around here we'll give you montage window. We'll go to about there. That's a really quick attack. Alright, so now we're going to get into some combos and how we select different sections of the montage in order to play different attacks. What we want to do here is we basically want to set up a gate, because we have now removed that activation blocked tag, so we're not blocking the activation of our ability. So when we hit play right now, we can just activate our ability as many times as we want, whenever we want, right? It's back to that old problem. So what we want to do is we want to have it continue to fire, because we need it to fire again during the attack window. And the way that we're doing attack windows, just to keep it pretty simple for this project, normally you do like an extra notify, and then we do something adding on to this play montage node where we'd be able to pass in some gameplay tags and things that we want. Like the gas system has a built-in play montage in wait system where you can listen for event tags that come out. We built something sort of like that long term so that we can really play with these input windows. But the idea is that once we finish striking with our first swing, right about the time we stop doing damage, so we're just going to use the point that we stop doing damage for this example, we're going to open our attack window, and then at the point that we blend out the animation, which is somewhere towards the last few frames, we're going to toggle the window closed. So at any point during this window, if we hit the next attack, we're going to jump to attack 2 and play that montage instead. So here's how we do that. We do it first by setting up gate. So just so you can see it clearly, this is a combo gate. And we're going to create events to open the gate and close the gate. And then we're going to we're going to do a branch. We're going to ask whether we have exceeded our combo or not. Because if we've exceeded our combo, then we want to not play the montage anymore. So to keep this a little bit simpler, or to keep things separated out so it's a little easier to read, I'm going to put the montage over here in its own event. So this is play montage at section. And we'll get to that in just a minute. So to get the attack section name to do this logic here, I'm just going to create a function so that it cleans up this blueprint a little bit, because we're going to add quite a bit in here to make attacks really work. So I'm going to get attack section name. It's over here. And this is going to output a name. Section name, and this will be a pure function because we won't need an execution at all. And for this string, we're actually going to want to declare a combo index. This is an integer, and as you might expect, we're just going to increment this with each attack and limit it to a max combo. I'm going to go ahead and do that now, called combo count. So this is how many swings you have in your combo. And for now, we're going to set it to 2 because that's what we added in our montage. And for our start section here, we're going to get attack section name. Just call that function right there. And the other thing we want here is we want to do an additional check. And this function I'm going to do is kind of dirty. This isn't really the best solution. This is more like a good tutorial solution. So I'm going to call this montage plain is my montage. So this is just checking. This is actually going to return 2 booleans. This is montage to play current and is my section. So what we're going to do with this is also a pure function. We have no need for an execution in here. So we're actually going to get our anim instance from our owner's skeletal mesh, and we're going to ask it what montage is playing. Now, the reason this is kind of dirty and not really something you want to do is because getting the anim instance is fairly expensive. In general, like it's just expensive to get from the skeletal mesh. And then to further query the montage that's currently running is kind of against the point of the montage. The idea is that you sort of fire and forget and wait for it to do stuff. So this is a little against pattern, but as far as something that's legible, that works consistently every single time, that I can do in the scope of this tutorial, which is already kind of on the longer side from what I would really like it to be. So I'm kind of taking this shortcut with the caveat that you should explore better options of how to gate this more effectively or efficiently using tags or something like that. There's a bunch of different ways to go about it. This is just a simple way that I know absolutely always works, regardless of how much you try to break it. So as far as like here's something really stable to give you that you can play with forever is kind of my intention in here. So we're going to grab our owner skeletal mesh. We're going to get our anim instance. We're going to get current active montage, and we're going to compare that to our montage to play. This is also not something you want to do. You don't really want to compare objects, especially not objects like montages, because they're actually comparing that like the animations are the same and they're going sort of line by line through each of them and seeing if they're actually the same class. So it's much more expensive than you might think it is. So again, this is a very dirty, quick and easy solution. I'm actually going to do a real weird one here. I'm going to do a selector, and I'm going to say if this is false, I will flip this, use that as my index. Montage get current section. So we are getting the current section that's being run of this montage that's running on our anim instance. Now the reason we need to put this into this selector is that if we are running a different montage that's not our montage, but we happen to have the same section name, we don't want it to think that we're running the same section on the same object. So you could do this by doing two separate branches and maybe passing an execution in through here. I like to do things with preprocessor selects, and executions don't always need to be passed around. Like, this kind of helps clean up blueprints and things like that. So we'll get our attack section name using the function that we just created. Okay, so that should not be a not. That should be it. Just the truth check. Because if it is our montage, then we need to ask if we're playing our section. Okay, to determine is my section. All right. So, montage playing is my montage. And in order to play another montage, another attack, I want to make sure that I'm either playing from a different montage, so I'm interrupting another attack. I passed my can activate tag checking, so I know that nothing is blocking my ability to do it. I just want to make sure that I'm not overriding myself section. Okay. That would be that. Right away when we play the montage, we want to close the combo gate. We should already have it closed from when we entered it. And we'll get to activating it through the gate again in just a moment. So we have our end action. Then we want to set combo index to 0 when we're done, and go ahead and close that combo gate. And then when we're interrupted, so being interrupted is a bit of a weird one in this pattern, because your second attack in the montage, if you think about it, we fire the first attack and then we have this window where we can activate the second attack during the first attack. So anytime we do a combo attack, we are interrupting that animation. So that means we have to add a contingency for what happens if I do a different attack, a second attack that's totally in a separate object from this one that interrupts it. I still need to, I need to end this attack, this action, and I still need to reset my combo counters, and I need to get ready to fire again, to fire attack 1 in the event that I'm activated again. So I need to tell when I've been interrupted whether I was interrupted by another attack in my montage, or if I was interrupted by something totally different. Alright, and the way that we do this is by using our montage playing is my montage function here. And we're going to ask if the montage to play is my current montage. If it is not my current montage, then I'm going to end the attack, or action, sorry, end the action. And then I want to set my combo index to 0 and close my combo gate. Alright. And also, when I do notify end, so notify end is when we've decided that we want to open our combo gate. So we want to make sure that we've gotten it from the correct montage. It's really weird, but this does actually happen to matter every once in a while. Just with the way things line up and are executed in order. It's just kind of the way things work out. But if this is true, then we want to open our combo gate. Alright, and if not, then we gotta notify from a different montage, which means things have gone terribly wrong and we need to end our action, set the combo index back to 0, and close the combo gate again. Alright, so coming back up to our gate logic here, I'm going to go ahead and ask my owner actor if they have my attack active tag. Actually, what I'm going to do is, because we're potentially going to make another attack that would have presumably attack active as an E tag, like by default on it, I'm going to make a tag that's more specific for a combo attack. So I'm going to call this a combo attack tag, or combo attack active. So this is just something I can add to my activation tags. I can add combo attack active. Oh, it's already in there. So this just adds on when my attack is active. Anytime that this action is active, this particular tag is going to be on here. And the reason I'm separating combo from attack is that I assume that only one of your attack abilities is going to be able to be comboed. That's a design choice in this particular game. We could separate out, I suppose, a tag for primary combo attack active and then another one for secondary combo attack active if you really wanted to add that extra layer, the ability to combo off both of a primary and a secondary attack. I'm just going to assume that only one of them can combo at any time. Kind of picturing this like, it's a 2D platformer, so it's kind of like your Battletoads, only on 2D instead of 2.5. Where you've got like a simple melee attack, that you've got a ranged attack at more distance that takes a little bit longer to shoot, leaves you vulnerable or something like that. So only one of those would really have a combo attack. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So if we have combo attack active, we're going to enter the gate. Now the other thing here is, it's always important in this pattern to know when you're calling the parent function and what the parent function does. So in this case, we just made our activate action parent function. That gives the activation E tags to our owner actor. So if we go back and take a look at this activation logic here, we will always find this tag because we're adding it right here. So on our first attack, we're going, yeah, we're hitting a combo. And that's not necessarily right. We actually want to have it later. So we want to activate the parent event later. First thing we want to do is see if our owner actor already has this tag. So if we already have it, then we know that attack 1 is already running, right? So if I have my combo attack active, so I need to query this before the parent, the parent function, but I have no need to actually branch it until later. So if I have the E tag before I add it from the parent function, then I know that I've already activated my ability. So I know I'm in attack 2 or beyond, assuming we create functions that go longer, or we create chains that go longer. So that means that we have the tag. Sorry. If we don't already have it, then we know we just want to play montage at section, and this will just fire the first one. So this will come up true. So it'll go through the first time, and then it will open the combo gate, and since it's already firing the first time, it'll go ahead and have this tag before we get to the parent function the second time we activate it. So then we'll go through the combo gate and require everything else through here. We actually want to do a branch on where we are in the combo. Combo count. Combo index plus 1 is greater than or equal to combo count. Then we want to set our combo index to 0. Close the combo gate and end our attack. End action. Otherwise, we want to set this to the incremented integer. So we just want to increment it each time. And then we can go ahead and play the montage for the next action, for the next attack rather, and then we can close the combo gate. And we make sure that we keep it closed. Well, my default combo counts to... my bet is... yeah, it should be greater than, not greater than or equal to. Well, that doesn't seem to want to do it. Let's see here. Looks like the first one is closing the gate. Oh, we should actually, forgetting the attack section name, derp derp, we actually need to add 1 to this. Because I've been using the indexes attack names of attack 1 and attack 2, and the combo index actually only actually reads 0 and 1. So now well, that's not going to work at all now. Maybe if we make sure it's not our section. if this is false. That's what I did. Actually don't end the action here, I don't think. Alright. So then we have this cool, really stable melee combat ability that gets in the way of our movement and jumping, all that fun stuff. Kind of locks us in place. It feels very costly, so it feels pretty good. So that is really the basics of how action objects work, and showing you all the way through a melee attack, including combos. The combos are maybe a little more than were necessary, but thanks for hanging in there for those of you that did. I hope you learned something along the way. For a quick recap, remember, an action object is not an actor, it's an object. It is a thing that has inside of it logic to perform actions on an actor or on whatever your character sort of object is. So we have a character and we put an interface to grab tags on here as most of this, and then all we really did was a couple of input events, and we hardwired in a secondary more to test our ability to dynamically adjust to things being broken or not set up necessarily correctly, like that is. Like if you have an ability that isn't tagged correctly, like this one, it just sort of interrupts everything. It's like, oh, I'm doing this shout now, like no matter what's going on. This way we don't break our existing action objects. We did break movement a little bit. Nope, no we didn't, it's good. Okay. So that is all action objects really are. The big advantage to being able to use all of your behaviors in objects like this is that this is, you know, the melee base class for all melee attacks. So for any more things we want to do, like a different set of melee attacks, we could just even we can make a child of this class, and now we have our first melee attack. And we can set whatever the montage is. We have the ability to make it a combo if we want to have combos in our montage. We can set unique activation tags and block the activation. And there's obviously more you can do with an e-tag-like system. You know, the gameplay tags are a great example to look at everything that you can really do just by checking for enumerations on your character. So the big advantages are that you don't have to write any more code for doing your melee attacks for like the rest of your project. You can always adjust here. You can add a few decorators, like maybe you want to do a uncompleted event that you can then override in your child classes for, like, hey, whenever I complete, I have a little extra, you know, cleanup things I want to do if I got to the end of the animation or whatever. You can always add more things to just sort of create a little more dynamicism, or a little bit more dynamic behavior with your children classes that you derive off of this. But other than that, being on a large team, this would mean that an engineer could own just the melee attacks, and they could make changes at will to their melee attack blueprint file, and whoever's working on like character movement would, you know, work in their own component or work in their own action object, or maybe inside the character class, I suppose. But If everything is abstracted into these action objects, then coders aren't tripping over each other trying to figure out who fixed what bug when, and if you both work on the same file and God forbid make fixes and then have to try to merge those, there's not really a good blueprint merge out there. So the best solution is to compartmentalize code, and this is really the best and most efficient way to do it. Beyond just ease of convenience, there is the performance advantages, where having something modular like this, for example, if every melee attack in your entire game, imagine a game like Darksiders, if all of them ran, and they probably do, to be honest, they probably all run through the same sort of execution, like similar sort of execution pattern, and every attack uses this same line of code. So if you were to compare that to a different game, or like your personal projects maybe, where you've scripted every attack individually and it has its own unique line of code, just thinking about it from the loader perspective, that there's that much more stuff to just go through and compile. There's that many more lines of code in memory. There's that much more that your computer has to sift through as it tries to find all of the information that it needs, right? And beyond that, you can also build these, I've sort of mentioned along the way, in an execution pattern. So in our character, we created these objects on begin play. There's no real need to do this in the action object pattern. It's just kind of an easy way to wrap your head around the basics of action objects. But in reality, we could have this melee attack. We could, let's say we cast to the actor and grabbed our skeletal mesh component directly. Well, at that point, we don't need to store anything through the life of this melee attack. We actually don't need it to exist unless we're using it. So we could actually store a reference to it on our character and say, let me get a melee base attack here. And let me just get this object that I'll have a reference to it, and then I will grab the class that I'm looking for and I will instantiate it, and in this same way I'll construct an action object, and then I will have a direct reference to it, and then I can actually call like activate action directly right here, right? And I can do that inside of, say, the fire event. So on my fire delegate here, I could actually have it just create this object, have it do a melee attack, and then have this object completely disappear. So it's kind of cool. It may not be the best thing for, say, like, if this is my standard X combo attack, my standard light combo attack that I have for the entire game and it never changes, well, it's probably better to just pop it on the character once, right? And then use your expensive calls here to make sure that you don't have super references and all that stuff. But you can always do things through by execution later on. Like, say you wanted to have a special animation that runs when you climb up a rope, but you don't want to necessarily know how to climb up a rope until you're like 2 feet away from it and can potentially grab it. So then you can just add these objects at runtime as you go and just sort of construct them at will and deconstruct them and just make sure that you have them whenever you need them. The ability to leverage better performance out of the engine is here. You just have to figure out how it works for your project. So that is action objects. I appreciate all of you going through my gameplay ability system tutorial that took the time out of your day to do this tutorial, which I know is a little off topic, it's a little different, but I appreciate you hanging in there, and hopefully the next chapter of the ability system will come along a little bit faster, now that I'm not trying to include all of this in addition to teaching the ability system itself, and I can just focus on what the system builds for you, assuming that you now have this knowledge of what action objects are and you kind of know what you're looking for. So with that, I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorials. I'm Thomas M. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe if you like these videos. Please drop me a comment, shoot me a direct message, look me up on social media, whatever. If you want to see new tutorials, if you want to talk about games or just ask questions, then feel free to reach out. I'm always around. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.